Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. I have a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the message reads like this. How are you, Brother Nashi? Please post for me but hide my identity. My brother, I am a 49-year-old man. My story is a bit long, but I will try to break it down so that you can understand. Brother Nashi, I grew up listening to my father, and he used to tell me each and every secret. I even grew up hating my brothers because my father didn't want me to be abused by them. My father didn't want anyone to insult me, including my mother. So what happened was that my father started to get sick. This was somewhere around 2003. And I didn't want to go far away from my dad because me and him, we had that kind of a bond. He didn't have that kind of a bond with my mom or any of his relatives or my siblings. So I could not even go to the city so that I can look for a job far away from home. I wanted to be close to my father. One day, he called me into his room where he was sleeping. I went there, and when I went into that room, when I arrived, he stood right in front of me as if he was in good health. This really surprised me because all along my father was so sick, so much that he could not even walk on his own. But when he called me to his bedroom, he then suddenly got out of bed as if he was now in good health. He had all the strength that a healthy man had. He then said to me, "My son, as you can see, I am very sick, and now I know that my days are numbered. I want to leave all of my inheritance to you." When my dad told me that he was about to die, this really made me to be sad because I really loved my father and I didn't want him to die. And even though he had told me that he wanted to leave all of his inheritance to me, I didn't care about all his property. I didn't care about all of his properties. All that I wanted was for him to live. But my dad consoled me, and he told me that this inheritance that I'll pass on to you will make you to become a very powerful man, and no one will ever have power over you, not even your brothers. They will be like your slaves to you. I was confused by this at that time. I didn't understand what my father meant when he said that even my brothers, they were going to be like my slaves. After speaking with my father, he told me that I had to go and take the car keys because there was this other place that he wanted to show me. He said that I want to show you where all of my powers comes from. My brother, we drove to that place. This was like for 4 hours. We drove for 4 hours. Later, my father told me to go off-road. That is when we started to travel to a mountainous area, in an area where you could see that there is no cars that go there. It was quite a challenging place to drive the car. I didn't even argue with him. I just listened to my father. I didn't want to argue with my father because he was sick. Brother Nashi, when we got almost to the top of the mountain, I kept on following my father. This was after the car could not go any further. So we got out of the car and we started to climb the mountain until we had reached on top of that mountain. And when we had reached on top of that mountain, there was a cave there, and I continued following my father. Me and my father, we walked about 400 meters until we had gotten to that place where there was a cave. And this cave, it was really big. Inside that cave, there was a very big pot which was tied with a red cloth around it. And that pot, it was placed on top of a fire. I didn't know who had lit up that fire because for many miles when we were driving, I didn't see any village or any human being for miles. It was only animals that I had seen, but the fire was mysteriously burning. When we entered into that cave, my father knelt down. Then he started clapping, saying that my days on earth are over, so I am leaving this inheritance to my son, whilst he was calling out my name. It was as if my father was speaking with the fire, and it was as if as my father was clapping and as he was busy calling out my name, the fire was also responding to him. That is when my father opened the pot and he took out some soft porridge, and we were eating with our fingers, not using any spoons. When we had finished eating, my father then started to tell me about the strength that I was going to possess. He told me that if you want someone to suffer, he told me that you must bring some traditional grains into that cave, and I was supposed to cook those grains inside that pot that was on top of a mysteriously burning fire, and I should cook those grains inside that pot. And my dad told me that I should say whatever that I wanted upon that person's life whilst I was busy stirring that pot. And if I wanted that person to suffer, like stealing good luck from that person, like those people that complain that when month end comes, they don't know what they do with their salary. Their salary, it seems as if their money that they would have gotten just goes to waste. If you have ever come across that situation whereby when it is month end, the only thing that you can use with your salary is to buy food, this is the kind of a ritual that I was taught to do by my father. So as I'll be stirring the grains that I would have placed inside that pot that is always on top of that mysterious fire, I'll be placing a lot of spells upon your life, and I'll be saying that money should never stay in your pockets. Money should always get into your pockets, and as quickly as it would have gotten into your pockets, that is the way it should leave your pockets. So shall it be so. Brother Nashi, I was happy because my dad had taught me to become a very cruel person. Later that day, we returned back home, but when we arrived, it was in the evening. Everyone asked me where I had gone to, but I told no one. Since that day, everything that needed to be done at home, they had to ask me first because they knew that I was my father's favorite. After 1 week of doing those rituals, my father passed away after he had seen that indeed I could even complete those rituals on my own. But before he left me, he told me the oath that I had to keep in order for the ritual to keep on working. The oath was that I shouldn't insult anyone in my life. Instead of insulting anyone, I should go back to that mountain if indeed I hate that person, and I should call out that person's name as I'll be performing that ritual that my father taught me. He told me that the battles that we do fight, we do not fight those battles in this physical realm, but we fight those battles in the spiritual realm. So if anyone insults me in this physical realm, I should not respond. If anyone tries to cheat me of my money, I should not respond in this physical realm. Rather, I should drive back to that mountain and fight with him in the spiritual realm. That was the oath that my father gave me, and he died. But my father died before he could tell me the witch doctor that gave him these things. Even up until today, I don't even know that person. My father, before he died, he had promised me that he was going to tell me the witch doctor who gave him all of these powers, but unfortunately he died before he could tell me. Brother Nashi, I have made a lot of people to suffer because I used to go there 4 times a year to that cave to perform those rituals, and I keep on cursing my relatives, and I speak a lot of curses upon my brothers' lives so that they can suffer. And I know that the moment that they will be suffering, I will get rich all of my brothers, they try to work very hard, but what they don't know is that no matter how hard they try to work, at the end of the day, the money that will enter into their pocket, the money will just disappear. Recently, the chief in our village, he said that he wanted to bring a spiritual seer so that he can come and cleanse the village, because he says that there is a lot of witchcraft that is taking place there in our village. But I cannot let the chief bring this traditional healer so that he can cleanse the village, because this is where I do my rituals, in those mountains. Even though I accepted, but I don't want any traditional healer to come and cleanse our village, because I'll be humiliated. As for now, secretly, I am going around looking for any help from any kind of a prophet who can assist me so that I can get rid of these things secretly. And I know that with all the money that I can have, if anyone can assist me to secretly get rid of these things that were left behind by my father, I can pay them after they are done. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received. Then I had to ask one of our admins to give us a translation.